Terrific delivery from Ellyes Perry.
In July 2007, at just 16 years of age, Ellyes Perry became the youngest ever Australian to play for her country at the Cricket World Cup. A month later, she was playing in the Football World Cup for the Matildas. That makes her the only Australian to have played at a World Cup in 2 different sports. But as her player profile continued to rise, she was forced to pick one game. And in 2014, she hung up her football boots for the baggy green and hasn't looked back since. Now, she's arguably the best cricketer in the world, male or female, with a higher batting average than Steve Smith and a better bowling average than Pat Cummins. Thursday marks the final match of the Women's Ashes, but Australia has already sealed the series victory over the weekend.
Once again, England have lost the wicket.
Ellyes Perry is a key player in the women's cricket team, which is over in England competing in the Ashes. Ellyes Perry, thanks for joining us. In the last few days, commentators have been lamenting the lack of long tests in women's cricket. Do you regret the fact that you don't get the chance to try out that different dynamic of the long game more often?
Historically, a lot of women's cricket's been played with the short format of the game, particularly one-day cricket and more recently T20 cricket, and that's been a pretty remarkable vehicle in terms of growing the sport and developing it and being able to promote it and put it on TV and get more people interested and involved in it. But certainly from a playing perspective and potentially for further development, it'd be lovely to play more of the longer format cricket, you know, test match cricket. I think for anyone that's sort of grown up as a fan of cricket or being involved, it is the absolute ultimate, and particularly being able to wear a baggy greens. Well, I think, you know, the series that we play for the Ashes at the moment with the multi-format component to it would be really nice to play against other top nations in the world, which means, you know, just by virtue of doing that we play more test match cricket. But yeah, I think as it currently sits, it makes a lot of sense why we play the way we do, and it's, you know, it's not directly comparable to the way that men's cricket is set up. So I think that's the one thing that people probably fall into the trap of doing, is just quickly comparing it to, I guess, the men's international scene, and it's just not the same.
One of the most extraordinary things about you, of course, is that you are such a sports all-rounder. For someone who's never mastered even backyard cricket, can you describe for us what it feels like to hit the ball as hard as you do? I mean, what's the sweet spot?
I think the movements within batting and, you know, bowling for that matter in cricket, it's all about sort of rhythm and fluidity, and so you know, when you're playing really well, I think the timing of your movements and all parts of your body that you need in those movements just seem to work as one, and it's sort of like this whole, I guess, whole body experience where you're just kind of making the movements that you need to play the right shot, and you're not really even conscious of how you're doing it.
Your performance obviously puts you in the elite of Australian cricket. The game has long traditions and an extraordinary culture. In the men's game, there are good aspects of that culture and some not so good aspects. Do you feel that, along with your teammates, you're in a position to actually create a culture for women's cricket?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think something that is probably really unique to not just women's cricket but women's sport at the moment is that all of a sudden, particularly in Australia, you've got this whole new set of athletes and teams that you know, a lot of people have never been exposed to before, have never watched play or got to know, you know, the athletes that make up those teams. And I guess in a lot of ways there's a bit of, I guess, innocence or you know, purity to it, because it's such a new thing, and the professionalisation of women's sport and women's cricket is really new.
Why do you think women's cricket is having such a shining moment?
Probably a bit of an obvious thing to say, but obviously females make up 50% of the population, and in a lot of ways that's been a really untapped market for most sporting codes in the country for a long period of time. So yeah, I think there's been new emphasis placed on you know, females in cricket, and part of that is obviously the Australian women's cricket team, and as a result I think, you know, we've benefited greatly from it, but it's also given us a really wonderful opportunity to play more of a role in the sporting landscape and hopefully influence you know, a new generation of cricketers to come.
Ellyes Perry, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, thanks for having me.